Alright gang, so if you watched the first video, I did an in-depth review, kind of thoughts behind this fresh picked test collection for Bath & Body Works, and now I'm going to talk specifically about Honey and Tangerine, as well as everything else that is coming out in this collection, which I told you about in the last video, but I'm going to give you sort of my quick thoughts and opinions on all of the ones that I did not purchase. So going straight down the line, we start with the Lavender Vanilla. It's straightforward. It is the lavender vanilla that we've smelled in the past. I honestly can't remember if it's the version that we see in, I don't think it's the aromatherapy version. I think it's more the version that we've just smelled in the sort of the White Barn collections in the past. So nice, but straightforward, kind of boring. Then you've got Georgia Peach, full on Georgia Peach, it won't go away. I don't really like it. I think a peach just comes off too cloyingly sweet and kind of artificial. Sugared lemons, this one, or sugared lemon zest rather, it says, I didn't even realize that in the store. This one I think, you know, they've done limoncello to death. I think, and I would have to compare, you know, side by side to be sure, I actually think this might be lemon zest, or, gosh no, was it called fresh lemons? Back in, you know, 09, 10, and probably earlier, a true Slatkin lemon candle that came out that was fresh lemons and really had just beautiful multiple layers of citrus, really fresh, really zesty, a little bit of the juice, lots of the rind, and just punch you in the face fresh, but not leaning to super candy, not leaning to super, you know, floor cleaner either. So really nice. I also think there's a slight possibility that could be, it was really kind of sweet and creamy almost. Wouldn't be totally shocked if it was the lemon gelato, which came out in the very first Boardwalk collection back in like 2011, alongside cotton candy and you know, the original salty caramel and all that. When Fabrizio smelled it, he actually thought that maybe it was vanilla shortbread from at least 2009, 2010 or earlier from the holiday collections, which was a vanilla shortbread candle, but very heavily leaned like a lemon shortbread. So the fact that he smelled some shortbread maybe in there makes me think it could be actually the gelato one, but the jury's out. It's a nice, really nice lemon candle. Then you've got here the tomato vine, which you can see in the other video. Honey Tangerine will be coming up in this one right here. And beyond that, that really just leaves us with Eucalyptus Rain, which is that, you know, eucalyptus mint and rain or whatever that we've smelled for years at this point that they keep giving to us. And then finally, I believe the only other two would be White Gardenia, which is, I'm sure it's repackaged, Tina Divalicious, The Show 78. Somebody could tell us exactly which one that was. Bronze Blogger, Hearth and Soul, somebody could tell us. Not sure off the top of my head, but I think we've been there, done that with this Gardenia before. It's fine for the people who love floral, but not my thing. And then finally, Pecan Praline. Doesn't fit in this collection. Kind of an ugly color, like but like more of a brown to it. To me, there's no place for it in this collection, and it's some version of, you know, I haven't been paying as close attention as I used to, some version of the, you know, pumpkin pecan waffles, comfort, some you know, version we've seen before of the sweet, creamy pecans. So, I don't like it. But the one interesting thing here, well, the three interesting things, I guess, are before you here, but one of the interesting things here is the Honey and Tangerine, which I was excited to sniff into because it sounded new, interesting, and it in fact is new and somewhat interesting. So again, really, I'm a fan of these frosty jars with just the really simple labels on here. I think they look, dare I say, kind of classy, or just, you know, simple. They're not cheap, and they're not, you know, ugly, so that's saying something. The notes for this one, pretty straightforward: sugared honeycomb, golden tangerine, and warm tonka bean. Now, tangerine generally is considered a little bit more bitter, or it can be very sweet, but a little bit more intense, right towards the front of your nose of a citrus versus an orange, or, you know, some of the other, what am I even thinking of? Not apricots, those are stone fruits. But tangerines are usually a little bit more intense, and yeah, I guess, I don't know, I would say bitter, like almost like your bitter orange, a little bit more intense of a, maybe a tiny bit more floral aspect to it than a standard orange citrus. Honey scents are interesting because so often honey is paired with, you know, milk and honey, things like that, where it comes across really soft and feminine and almost floral, which honey can be floral because, you know, whether there's clover honey, there's, you know, jasmine honey, lavender honey, whatever the bees are using are going to slightly influence the honey fragrance. But it often lends to more of like a, you know, a soft bath sort of fragrance versus something fresh and sweet or candied, which they say sugared honeycomb makes me think this will be a little different. Now smelling it, it is quite light. There really hasn't been any honey fragrance that I can really think of at Bath & Body Works in candle form in the years I've been sniffing. This is very, very light. I'm curious to see if this actually throws, because it's one of those candles that if you sniff it straight without the lid, you get almost no scent. You kind of have to smell the lid and put your nose in between the lid and the candle lip to smell it. I don't know that I would have picked out tangerine. I would say, you know, tonka bean is generally a slightly earthier, less floral kind of vanilla, like a tonka bean pod. And I do get that sort of, it adds a warmth and a roundness to this. So they're like, the idea of sugared honeycomb, there's nothing what's interesting for tangerine, there's nothing at all zesty about this whatsoever for my nose. It's really soft. I actually wouldn't have been surprised if this was honey orange blossom, because it's a little bit more towards that floral side, which again I think is not entirely surprising coming from tangerine. And I'd say almost a little milky. That's why it could have been like a creamed honey and creamed honey and orange blossom and cream, something like that, with notes of honey in it or something like that. So to me, again, honey doesn't have it. The smell can really vary with honey, so it's hard to say. But this does not have a sugar sweetness that maybe you would expect from a honey candle. And the citrus, I really have to rub these wicks to sniff them here. It's so mild, which is not common with citrus. Usually citrus is going to be the predominant note in a candle. They haven't done much in tangerine. They had tangerine, and then they had nectarine mint. I don't even know if they've had tangerine before, but yeah, it's so light that it reminds me very, very slightly of like the milk and honey aromatherapy they had years ago, just because it does have that sort of not cloying sweetness, but a cloying warmth to it, like very, very round. The tonka bean gives that as well. So I actually don't think honey tangerine is the right descriptor or name for this. I really think that it does lean more towards something soft, kind of feminine, but unisex enough. But no one, I think, would sniff this and instantly say zesty tangerine at all. They say golden tangerine, almost like tangerine nectar maybe, and the nectar of honey. And I swear that I'm doing talk about in-depth sniff because I keep huffing this thing. There is something in here that feels almost like a mulling spice to me. Like, or maybe, I don't know. I was going to say like the slightest bit of a really deep, deep, warm clove, but like the tiniest amount. Or even not nutmeg, clove perhaps. Yeah, because it's definitely in it, but there's something so creamy. That tonka bean is really creamy and does not smell like vanilla. It just is a cream base. Not milk, not dairy, but creamy. So yeah, again, I'd call this, yeah, citrus blossom, creamed honey and citrus blossom or something. Because yeah, there's the tiniest bit of, a little teeny bit of a spice in there that's like reminiscent of something. I can't really place it, but I think it's in the notes. So that's honey and tangerine. Honestly, I was excited by it. I bought it because it was truly a new blend. This is absolutely not a repackage. I don't know that I'm even going to bother burning it because it's not the more I sniff it, it's not a must-have for me. And it is so light that I would be shocked if it has a great throw and a burn to it. Even if it has a good burn, I can't imagine there being a strong throw to it. So this might go unlit back in the box, back in the bag, and be exchanged at a later date for something else. Because it's just, There's no way that'll be anything other than a light layering scent. It really doesn't bring anything like must-have to the table. So chalk that one up to newness and excitement that we all know the trouble we get into with that at times. So not bad, but very middle of the road. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I lifted that up and smelled it at, you know, discount bin at Target or Dollar Tree even. Come on. That's really where we're leaning here. So not a fan. I've actually convinced myself through the video that I'm just not a fan of that because it's just so playing it safe because it's so light and so casual. Like, give me something that's gonna knock me down, you know? So that is Honey Tangerine. Stay tuned. One more video for this collection. I'm laying them on here, trying to keep them all under 12 minutes for what actually might be one of my favorites, the Wild Sage and Aloe. So stay tuned and we'll talk soon.